The Bumblebee trailer has managed to win over old school Transformers fans with a pack of G1 references, so let's break all of them down. Starting out with the first two new Decepticons that we see on Earth called Shatter and Dropkick. Shatter is the red Decepticon and Dropkick is the blue Decepticon. Travis Knight has gone on to say that Dropkick is inspired by G1 Megatron, while Shatter is inspired by Nightbird. Now Nightbird was a character from the Generation 1 cartoon, and you can see her similar aesthetics do blend into Shatter as a whole, most particularly the mouth plate. And although Dropkick's name has been used before, this will be a brand new incarnation where the character is actually taken seriously and been given a personality of its own. Shatter, however, is a brand new Decepticon, and I can imagine we'll have future incarnations of her in future Transformers series. Next up is Cybertron itself, and it's looking exactly like how it did in the Generation 1 cartoon, with a massive chunk ripped out at the near bottom, and with similar design patterns with circles around the corners, and gaps revealing the inner cities. This is certainly the most realistic Cybertron we've had from these movies so far, with Michael Bay movies just resulting to a plain boring hexagon look. I like this look a lot better because it can really tell you the history of this planet. It has a lot of character to it. Next up is the big shot that everyone is talking about. We've got Shockwave and the Seekers in the background. Now actually on this far left, looking at it, yes, that is Shatter. It's like she's got a battle mask on or something. Very similar to Shatter in the shoulder pads and how the chest is close up. Maybe it's just a generic look with the same design as Shatter, who knows, but I feel like this is Shatter for the sake of a flashback to really build up on how Bumblebee actually managed to escape Cybertron during the war at the last moment. It'll probably show a scene where Shatter and Dropkick chase after him. The only thing really different is the head, which I'm imagining is a battle mask. Better yet, it could be just a generic Decepticon with the same design aesthetics, but there's no denying that this looks exactly like Shatter. Next we have Shockwave, who is literally stripped from the original Generation 1 series. We have his iconic eye, we have his iconic design piece. The one thing you can say about this Shockwave for certain is, wow, he's got thick thighs. Yes, I made that joke, I'm sorry. The next three on the far right, although they should be obvious on who they are, fans are still debating on who is who. While the green one for certain could either be Acid Storm, but as a conehead, but we can see the conehead actually isn't their head, it's like the back of them. I don't know, it kind of looks like that from this image here, but what I'm imagining this will be is either a generic Seeker, a Rainmaker, the Acid Storm, but with a conehead, or it could actually be Armada Thrust, a good homage to that. Whether or not Travis Knight really looked deep into the lore and noticed Armada Thrust is one thing, but we're probably not going to get the name of this character anyway, so does it really matter? While the next two on the right is the G1 Starscream look and the G1 Skywarp look. I thought this was Slipstream, but actually when you look at it a lot closely, it's like, yes, that is the purple look. There's no cyan colour, which is associated with Slipstream as well. So this is referencing directly to Skywarp and Starscream. Now you may say, well, Blitzwing in the new trailer is exactly how Starscream should look, and yes, that's right, but the only difference is that we've got these extra parts on this character here, where that wasn't attached to Blitzwing. Now yes, the Earth modes and Cybertron modes are very different, but with these kind of movies, they don't really like to change anything all that much at all. I mean, we've got Shatter on the far left there, and she looks exactly like she would in her Earth mode. Whether or not they will really change up the designs on Cybertron just for the sake of budget, because while Optimus Prime is looking exactly like he did in Generation 1 as a semi-truck, it's just because of budget, which is why in the first Transformers Generation 1 cartoon, when they were on Cybertron, they were already in their Earth modes, but when they turned into their vehicle modes, they were very different, just to give that little difference, but they couldn't actually change the robot mode. Which is why in the next shot, when we see the Seekers transform, they are actually in their jet modes, but as they were on Cybertron in the Generation 1 cartoon, they had the triangle looking shape. The Decepticon that we see flying from here is that green Decepticon from earlier. People have been calling out different kinds of Autobots and Decepticons from this fight scene here. Some are saying Onslaught, some are saying completely random characters. To be honest, we just can't tell. Travis Knight has already gone on to state that we will see Wheeljack and Cliffjumper, but they're the only other characters that are confirmed for the movie. I can imagine when I get the Blu-ray of the Bumblebee movie, I'm going to be freeze-framing every second of a Cybertron scene just to catch out little characters. But that's all we have so far. But yes, let's talk about it. This is a reference to Starscream from the Generation 1 cartoon, but just given the name Blitzwing. Now the reason why they did this was for aesthetic look. They wanted to have that feel to it, and although I think it's kind of a bit tedious and just disappointing on a fan's point of view, it's like, if you really want it to be Blitzwing, just change the colours at least. Give him the beige and sort of purple look, just to kind of make it, you know, canon. I mean, I brought up this argument before, but even non-Transformers fans, ones who are not that familiar with the lore, instantly thought this was Starscream, including my family members, my other friends who are not into Transformers, and we saw this trailer and were like, hey, that's Starscream, right? I'm like, oh, if only. But they understand why they didn't have this as Starscream was because, well, it is connected to the Michael Bay movies, and he was talking about Travis Knight that Starscream has a very iconic look, too different from what we wanted for this film. Although in secret, I feel like this is a soft reboot of the franchise, and who knows in the future, but I just don't know how you're going to be able to tell me that this isn't Starscream. At least this is Starscream on Cybertron. Who knows, Blitzwing could be impersonating Starscream in some funny way. I don't know. I doubt that is the case, but I don't know. It's just the look is very different on Cybertron compared to Earth, with the extra added body parts. And while Seekers are the same, and although Blitzwing isn't technically a Seeker, them two characters could just be very similar in design. But who knows, what we're seeing on Cybertron could very well just be Blitzwing. Although it's unfortunate, we do have to take that into account. Travis Knight wasn't kidding when he was saying it's going to be exactly like Generation 1, because we have Optimus Prime here, a full body shot, and just looking exactly like his classic self. But let's see more of Optimus Prime in action. In the international trailer, he slams Thundercracker to the ground. We know this is Thundercracker by the blue design, and the red paint that's across his wings. It's unsure if this guy will make it out alive, but hey, at least we'll get one awesome action sequence of Optimus Prime taking on a bunch of Decepticons. We see that later when he's going up against Soundwave and Ravage, which is iconic for many Transformers fans because, well, Soundwave ejects Ravage just like he does in the cartoon. Sure, it's weird and it's in a cassette looking tape, but hey, this is a different planet. It works. Now, Soundwave looks exactly like it did in Generation 1, but Ravage is not the exact same colours that he was in Generation 1. He was black and mostly just white, but they've actually given white and red. This is mixing a little bit with the Laserbeak colours. I don't know if we'll actually have Laserbeak in the film, because his design was very different in Dark of the Moon. But then again, so was Ravage's, so I don't know. What's Travis Knight up to? But hopefully with any luck we'll get the entire ensemble of Laserbeak, Ravage, Frenzy and Rumble. And although we may not have Laserbeak, we could at least have Buzzsaw, another cassette from the Generation 1 cartoon. Going back to Optimus Prime, when he actually attacks Ravage, when he throws him literally back to Soundwave, we see other Decepticons appear in the background. Now this is literally the last frame of that scene, so we can see very clearly Soundwave and Shockwave still in the scene, but we've got two Seekers behind both of them. We've got one Seeker behind Shockwave and we've got one Seeker behind Soundwave. Not sure who these characters are, they could just be Skywarp, Thundercracker, whoever. Who knows who these characters are, of course we'll have to see when we actually watch the movie. But just seeing them sort of ground Optimus Prime is going to be one of the moments in the film where it's like, oh, okay, how does Prime get out of this one? Does his Autobot buddies come and save him in time or back him up? Who knows, but it's pretty exciting just seeing all the Decepticons kind of surround him. And that's pretty much it, guys. There are all the G1 references, at least on the Cybertron scenes. Of course, the obvious one as well is Bumblebee. He is in his original Beetle mode from Generation 1. Pretty cool. Do let me know in the comment section below if you notice any other Generation 1 references. I feel like I pretty much got it covered on the character aspects. Another reference that you can kind of put out is that Charlie, the new character in the Bumblebee movie, is very reminiscent of Spike Witwicky from the Generation 1 cartoon as an inspiring mechanic, who has a very close friendship with Bumblebee as well. I'm sure there'll be some reference in some way to Spike or any other G1 character in the movie itself, so let me know what you think, guys, in the comment section below. This has been Comedy Cam, and for more news and updates on the Bumblebee movie, stay tuned here. Until next time, guys, goodbye.